Hello guys, I'm Vishali Kikant here. We are discussing the unit 3, the periodic table. So we are starting our discussion with the properties of group 1 elements in this video. What are the various properties of the group 1 element? First, the group 1 elements are also known as the alkali metals, right? So what are the various properties of alkali metals? They are highly reactive. Other than that, they are soft and they are having low melting point, right? So what is the common thing in between the various atoms present in the group 1? So they have one common property, that they have one electrons in the outer shell. So in outer shell only one electron would be present. So now the valence electron would be 1. So when all of the atoms are having only one valence electron, all of them will be having the similar reaction. So the reaction is similar for all of the atoms in the group 1, right? After that, they have the metallic bonding. What is the metallic bonding? In metallic bonding, we have the electrostatic attraction between the positive ions and the delocalized electrons. So we have electrostatic attraction. There is no covalent bond, right? We have the larger atoms as we move down in the group. So these are all the properties of the group 1 elements. Now coming to the reactions of all of the group 1 elements. What are the various reactions? First, they are reacting with the oxygen. So 4M, M here represents the group 1 element. So 4M in the solid is reacting with oxygen in gaseous forms to give 2M2O in solid. So this is how any of the atom in the group 1 can react with the oxygen. So put any symbol of any atom in group 1 over here and replace the M, and then you can get the reaction. So I can say the group 1 atoms are reacting vigorously with the oxygen and they are going to tarnish rapidly when they are placed in air, because in air we have oxygen, so it is going to react with air also. Then coming to the reaction with water. So 2M, here again M represents the group 1 atom. It is going to react with water. So M is here in the solid state, water is in liquid, so it is going to form 2MOH aqueous plus H2. So this MOH is an alkaline solution. So what I can say, the group 1 elements are going to react rapidly with water to form an alkaline solution. This alkaline solution is formed. Again, what you can do, you can replace the M with any of the symbol of group 1 element and you can get the desired reaction. Coming to the properties of the group 17 element. What are the various properties? First of all, they are known as halogens. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, all of them are known as halogens. They are non-metals, right? And they are consisting of diatomic molecules. So always we have F2, Cl2, then Br2, I2. So we have diatomic molecules. So now you can see in the figure we have element, their symbol, atomic number, electronic configuration, density, melting point and boiling point variation. So here if you see the melting point of halogens, if we go down the group, so melting point is going to increase. Why it is going to increase? So now the reason for that is, if we go down the group, molecular mass is increased. So when I am going down the group, the number of protons are increasing, the number of electrons are increasing, the molecular mass has to increase, right? So when the molecular mass increases, there is an increase in the London forces, and due to which we have increase in the separation energy, and thus I can say the melting point increases. Now coming to the reactions of group 17 element. What are the various reactions? So they are going to gain electron. Either they gain electron and they form X negative, or they can form the covalent bond. These are the two types of reaction they are doing, right? So the reactivity is decreasing as we move down the group. So I can say fluorine is the most reactive element present, right? It can react with any other element present in the periodic table. So as we go down, I can say the reactivity of iodine is much less than the reactivity of fluorine. Reaction with alkali metals now, right? So how they react with the alkali metals? They react with alkali metals to form the salts. So now you can see this is the halogen. X2 represents the halogen. This is in diatomic form. Here M represents the alkali metal. So when these two react, they are going to form the salt. Now coming to a very interesting type of reaction which is called as the displacement reaction of the halogens. What happens in the displacement reaction of the halogen? So this is the reaction between the solution of halogen and the solution of halide ions, right? So I can take the different solutions of halogen and halide ions and I need to react both of them, and we are going to see what happens when we react different halogen solution and the halide ions, right? So now if I take the Cl2 solution, you can see it's a pale yellow green solution. If you see the Br2 solution, bromine solution is orange solution. Other than that, we have iodine solution which is reddish brown solution, right? So now what happens? So in this reaction, what happens? More reactive halogen is going to displace the halide of less reactive halogen from the solution. So now I can say chlorine is most reactive out of all of them. So chlorine is going to displace bromine as well as iodine. Whereas if I say bromine, it is not going to displace chlorine. Iodine cannot displace chlorine as well as bromine. So what we have to see? We have to see which one is more reactive. The more reactive halogen will displace halide of less reactive halogen from the solution. So this is also known as a redox reaction. Why it is also known as redox reaction? Because the more reactive halogen oxidizes the less reactive halide ion. We can understand this with the help of these two equations. Now here we are reacting chlorine with the halide of bromine. So chlorine is Cl2, right? So chlorine is Cl2 which is reacting with 2KBr, right? So 2KBr is now halide of bromine, which is now chlorine is more reactive. It is going to displace bromine from the solution. So it is going to form the 2KCl and it is going to oxidize the bromine to form Br2. So I can again represent this same reaction as an ionic reaction, right, as well. So now here I am going to observe what happens in the ionic form. So Cl2 plus 2Br negative is going to form 2Cl negative plus Br2. So you can see the chlorine has reduced and the bromine has oxidized. So now again another reaction where Br2 plus 2Ki is going to form 2KBr plus I2. Now here what I have done, I have replaced I over here. So bromine was more reactive. It has now removed the position of iodine. It has now oxidized the iodine. So now 2KBr plus I2 is formed. It is displacement of the iodine with the bromine. So Br2 plus 2I negative gives me 2Br negative plus I2. Now coming to the next topic, that is the oxide of period 2 and the period 3 elements. So now if I see all of the metallic oxide, all of the metallic oxides are basic in nature. The non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature, right? So now if I see the basic oxide, if I add acid to it, it is going to form the salt, right? So or other than that, it can form the alkaline solution. So now here you can see Na2O is going to react with H2O and it is going to form 2NaOH, which is alkaline solution, right? So this alkaline solution is formed when Na2, sodium oxide, was reacted with water. Similarly, we have magnesium oxide. Now the magnesium oxide is not very soluble in water. It is going to react to very small extent. So MgO plus H2O gives me MgOH2. Again, it's an alkaline solution. MgOH2 is alkaline. Now coming to the aluminium. Aluminium is very less soluble in water. It is almost insoluble in water. And now it is going to form amphoteric oxide. Amphoteric oxide means it can act like an acidic oxide as well as a basic oxide. So now we are going to see the reaction of aluminium oxide with both acids and bases to understand its amphoteric nature. So reaction of aluminium with acids. So Al2O3 is going to react with acids. Acid will be having higher number of hydrogen plus ions. So Al2O3 will be reacting with 6H positive. It is going to form 2Al3 positive plus 3H2O. Right, so this reaction is possible. Similarly, it is going to react with the bases as well, and the bases we have hydroxyl ions. So we have Al2O3 plus 2OH negative, and we are going to add water to it, and it is going to form 2AlOH4 negative. So in this manner, aluminium oxide can react with both acids as well as bases. It is amphoteric oxide. Now coming to the phosphorus oxide. So we have two types of phosphorus oxide, P4O6 and P4O10. P4O6 is going to react with the H2O to form H3PO3, right? Or other than that, if I have P4O10, it is going to react with H2O to form H3PO4, right? Coming to the sulfur oxide. Sulfur oxides are also two types, SO2 and SO3. SO2 is going to react with H2O to form H2SO3. SO3 is going to react with H2O to form H2SO4. Coming to the nitrogen. Nitrogen is a very stable molecule. So N2 here is very stable. The attraction energy between two N2 molecules is very high. So now it can react with oxygen that is present to form 2NO, right? But this happens at a very high energy, right? So now this 2NO is insoluble in water, and this is also a neutral oxide. But in the atmosphere, what happens? This NO is going to oxidize to form NO2, which is now an acidic oxide. So 2NO2, which is going to react with water to form HNO2 plus HNO3. Now here another oxide of nitrogen is N2O, which is acting as a laughing gas, or it can be acting as an antiseptic as well. So now I hope you understood all of the things that I have discussed. Thank you so much.